Justin Trudeau uses the government jet to fly to Chicago to see his mother's one-woman show and then haggles over how much he has to pay the taxpayer back. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist with the Toronto Sun. I have no issue with the Prime Minister, be it Justin Trudeau or anyone else holding that office, using the government jet while they're in office for personal travel. We long ago as a country decided that, well, PMs shouldn't be traveling commercial. There are security reasons for it. There are many other reasons on why it makes more sense for us to have a government jet to take them around. I don't have an issue with that. But I do take issue with a series of documents and emails related to the PM's travels from May 2019 that have just been released, because it shows that when it comes to paying back taxpayers, Trudeau's office, the office that knows no limits on spending pre-pandemic or during the pandemic, we're suddenly worried about $33.85 on the price of airfare the PM had to pay back. Let me break this down for you. Every month, the Department of National Defense tallies up how much the government jets are used by the Governor General, by the Prime Minister, by other VIPs. It takes them a while to release this information, and during COVID, it's taken them even longer, which is why we're just getting May 2019 now. During that month, the Prime Minister took 9 different trips, and there were several legs to them. It cost the taxpayers a total of $242,955. That compares to $42,821 for the Governor General, who took 2 trips in that time period. Some of these trips were party use, like the PM flying to Muskoka, Ontario, to introduce their new candidate who was going to win in the fall election. By the way, she lost. Or it includes the trip over the Mother's Day weekend to Chicago. Now, Trudeau had flown with a bunch of staff from Ottawa to Edmonton for government business. That's fine. That's what the jet is there for. And it's when it really makes sense. When you've got a large group of people with government flying, take them all on the private jet. Cheaper, easier, that's fine. But then he kicked them all off, and he and his wife Sophie, along with a single press secretary, flew from Edmonton to Chicago to see Margaret Trudeau's one-woman show. Then they flew, a couple days later, back from Chicago to Ottawa. Now, when the Prime Minister uses the government jet for party or personal business, they are supposed to reimburse the relative commercial cost. Like, what would it cost for you and I to make the same flight? Well, Department of National Defense sent over some documents saying it's going to cost, and let me read from the article in The Sun, $269.11 for the one-way flight from Edmonton to Chicago, while the Chicago to Ottawa flight was $404.35. Now that is, according to these documents, the lowest possible commercial flight cost, meaning they go on a website like Hotwire and pick the lowest possible flight cost they could get. Not the average, not what it would actually cost to fly at the time that they were flying out, the lowest flight cost that day. Let me show you what that means if you flip on over to the Air Canada site like I did, and you do a one-way from Chicago to Ottawa on Monday, October 5th, next week. Well, it's $267 is the lowest flight in economy, with no ability to change your flight, no bags, nothing. If you want business class, it's $843. As you go up during the day, the price increases. But note, under these rules, Trudeau will only pay the lowest possible flight. What did his office do? They didn't accept the $404 for a one-way flight from Chicago to Ottawa, direct, by the way, not stopping over in Toronto. They said, can you check Midway? Chicago Midway is an airport outside of O'Hare that is a bit smaller, a bit closer to downtown, and sometimes a bit cheaper. They were able to find a flight that was $33.85 less, and that's what he paid the taxpayer back. This is what's bothering me about this. Not the fact that that the Prime Minister's using the government jet. Not the fact that this is how we've done things forever. Not the fact that he's paying back. It's that he already pays back the lowest possible price, not the average price, nothing else. It's the lowest possible price, and then they haggle over that. Don't you wish that this government was as careful with our money as they are with the Prime Minister's? The PM could afford that extra $33.85. It's not going to break him. It wouldn't break me. It wouldn't break you. But they decide to haggle over it anyway. Meanwhile, we've got them handing out contracts to friends for ventilators that well, don't work. We see them handing out contracts for masks to companies that can't make masks in Canada, even though that's the reason for it. We see them handing out contracts to their friends at We Charity, who have now shut down after the spotlight was shone upon them. This is a government that doesn't know how to control spending on any front, except when it comes to the Prime Minister's personal expenses and what he has to pay the taxpayer back for. That, ladies and gentlemen, tells you an awful lot about the mindset of Justin Trudeau and those around him.